well, to go back to school then says, well, because your kid seems to be a psycho and writing letters like this to me, he's about to shoot everybody up and shit, then he needs to go see a counselor in the next 48 hours. So, okay, you need to see a counselor in the next 48 hours. Yeah,
Put
so
him
he's
on a
so
bus right now.
Hey, what do you think about the this case in Michigan now? They charge the parents. What do you think about that?
I was briefly talking with Kurt about that. I'm looking at it and I'm going, civil case. Maybe you got a civil case. Criminal though, I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure out how you get to this idea. Look, because I know we can all look back in hindsight and go, yeah, that kid wore a lot of trench coats in the summer. That's weird. And say, yeah, they're gonna. I knew a kid who wore trench coats in Houston, Texas in the summer. It's like, how are you alive? But you go, okay, that's weird. And yeah, now I know that he was definitely going to murder someone. But can we credibly say that these people are supposed to have known that there was some foreseeability that he would take a gun and go and go kill people? Now, unless they've got some evidence, like write some text messages. What
Nick?
What's that?
Nick?
What's that?
Yeah. Maybe you don't know the facts, but this kid literally wrote that he was about to shoot everybody that morning. Do you know the facts of this case? What happened in the morning before he shot everybody up?
No, I don't know all of them, but let me do this. Let me do this though.
Go ahead.
I wrote that I would burn down my school and be happy. I had a kill list. I was never going to do it. It was just edgy, right? So,
okay.
I read a poem, right? We had to, in my senior creative writing class, we had to write poetry, right? And my poem involved literally me sitting there smiling as all of my classmates burned to death in a fiery inferno. Damn. That was the entire poem. And I read it to the class and it was great watching these people squirm. Cause like I was not an unhappy kid. I mean, I had my days, right, where I felt like shit, like every other kid. But there was no way I was never gonna actually like kill anybody or harm anybody or anything like that. I just made fun of people. But I was talking with my. I was just visiting with. I was just visiting with my parents. They were in town, and so and we were talking about this case. And my dad actually said that to my mom. He's like, I mean, we would have been hauled in over stuff that he was writing. Absolutely, they would have under the same thing. And it's like, so I mean, and no, I'm not familiar with what he wrote that morning. And then that gets into the questions of, did the parents see it? Should they have seen it? All that stuff.
Oh,
but go on.
Let me hit you to the facts, right? So the facts of this case are, they buy the kid a gun. Not illegal. I'm going to buy my kid a gun. If you guys think buying your kids a gun is wrong, F you, right? Because I'm a big proponent of the Second Amendment, right? If I'm a legal citizen and I want to teach my kid how to use a gun, F you if you don't think that's right. That's just the way it goes. So they bought their kid a gun for Christmas. Great. Good on them. But the kids now then the kid goes to school. He's looking for ammo on the line. I don't think that's a problem either. Why? Because you just got a gun. Of course you're going to look at ammo. You know, you have so what, right? He's looking at ammo.
In a brief interjection, they tried to make a lot. They wrote the headlines in a way where the mom was like, you need to get better at not getting caught or whatever over the ammo thing, because the kid gets caught looking at the ammo on his phone in class and he sends the thing to mom and she's like, I'm not mad. You just need to be better at not getting caught. Right. Don't get caught on your phone in class is the brackets extension of that. Not don't get caught preparing your school murders.
For to kill everybody, right? Right. Yeah. So, but I'll say this: those aren't red flags, but those are maybe we should think about something. Social media posts, schools aware of. Okay. Now, my thing is, I want to make it very clear to everybody too. I think if you charge the parents in this case, you got to charge the school. You have to charge the school officials, and here is why. That morning, the kid writes down a letter and essentially says, I'm about to shoot this motherfucker up. right?
Yeah.
That's essentially what the letter says. It got a gun, it got this, and he literally is writing it, help me, right? I'm about to blast this motherfucker up. Help me. That's essentially what he writes on the paper. A teacher sees it and takes a picture of it, right? Oh shit, boom, click, boom, right? So he then changes this shit up, right? So they call the parents in. Come on, parents, come on in. So they come in.
Yep.
They sit them down in front of the school, and the principal in them is like, yo, check this out. This is what your son wrote, right? He's about to shoot everybody up, right? Oh, okay, he's a bad, blah, blah, this. So at that point in time, I'm thinking, well, to go back to school then says, well, because your kid seems to be a psycho and writing letters like this to me, he's about to shoot everybody up and shit, then he needs to go see a counselor in the next 48 hours. So, okay, you need to see a counselor in the next 48 hours. Yeah,
Put
so
him
he's
on a
so
bus right now.
Yeah. But now you would think we know the kid has a gun, right? We don't know he has a gun there, but we know he's got access to weapons. We know that he's effing crazy. He's about to shoot everybody up. And right now we said that he's so crazy that he needs to see a medical professional about his mental state in the next 48 hours. What do you do if you're the school? Well, the parents say, well, we want to leave him in school. If I'm the school official, you ain't leaving him here. That kid's got to go, right? That can't stay at school. He got to go. He's just said he's going to kill everybody. No, he can't be here. Are you insane? No. He's suspended until he goes and sees somebody to make sure he's not going to kill everybody. But you know what these school officials do? They send him back to class.
Yeah.
Nobody checks his bag. They send him back to class. And then when he gets to class, he's like, let me go to the bathroom. They let him go to the bathroom. He goes in there with the bag, pulls out the gun, and then what happens. So what I'm saying, I don't care what anybody else is telling you. If you could charge the parents based on those facts that they should have known that they consciously disregarded a risk to other students by sending that kid back, by not taking that kid home, then you got to say the school is just as culpable because they knew he had access to a gun. They knew he had said this stuff, and they still said we're going to send his ass back to class. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
To clarify, I had seen the notes, right, that he wrote. I haven't read all of them, but I got some snippets of the notes that were reported. And my understanding, and you confirmed, was that those were at the school. And so the school saw the notes and brought in the parents. I knew that. I thought there might have been some other note that the parents were aware of prior to him leaving for school that morning or something like that. So I thought that's what you were talking about with the thing. But no, I agree. I still am not 100% sure you get to the parents on culpability here for criminal liability. But if you're going to charge the parents, I fully agree. You got to charge the school officials who make the same decisions based on the same, if not more information, and who would purportedly have a less biased take on the kid. Like, wait, I'm sorry, school. Are you concerned about policing speech? Are you concerned about the Supreme Court case that will follow this one? I don't think so. Schools have never been hesitant to police speech in any sort of way. So I don't see that as some sort of problem. And if you're a school official, you go, okay, I'll take the risk on the Supreme Court case. You go argue that this kid saying he's going to imminently shoot up the school is protected First Amendment speech, that the school should not be concerned and is subservient to the school's concerns of safety. And then we'll talk. This is not a cheerleader saying fuck cheer, right? This is a very different case. Let
me do this. I shared the little piece of it. Just because I took a lot of poetic license with the note said. So I want just everybody to see exactly what the note said. Yeah. So people don't so just so I don't misrepresent it. But obviously I took a lot of poetic license. But what I do like to do is give people the actual facts so they can make the judgment for themselves. So here it is.
A voicemail by school personnel regarding that son's inappropriate internet search. School personnel indicate they followed that voicemail up with an email, but received no response from either parent. Thereafter, Jennifer Crumbley exchanged text messages about the incident with her son on that day, stating, quote, LOL, I'm not mad at you. You have to learn not to get caught.
Yeah, that's nothing. That was enough.
Can you pause that real quick?
On November 30th,
Yeah, that's the nothing thing.
Yeah, that's just so everybody's clear, that was the email and the phone call, the voicemail were in response to the kid being caught on his phone searching for ammo. And again,
Correct.
in a vacuum where we don't have a subsequent school shooting, a kid in Michigan looking up ammo on a cell phone is probably an hourly occurrence in a Michigan high
Yeah,
school.
it's especially
this
somebody
is
who's
not
just got a new gun too, right? He just got a
right.
new gun. You would expect him to do something like that, right?
Yeah, even if your buddy gets a new gun, you're like, oh, we're gonna take this out to the range. It'll be sweet,
Yeah.
right? You're like, this is not a big deal. The prosecutor here is providing a very dramatic emphasis on this. I wanted to clarify that, because the way the headline was written,
Agreed.
when I saw that, I was like, holy hell! The mom texts the kid to don't get caught. I'm like, holy God, like she's talking about murdering people. No, it's looking at ammo. Okay.
No, she wasn't. Yeah, yeah. But of course, you know, the mainstream media, they want to confiscate all guns. So you know, it's crazy.
Yes.
21, the morning of the shooting, the
It's
next
morning
day,
of the shooting.
Ethan Crumbley's teacher came upon a note on Ethan's desk, which alarmed her to the point that she took a picture of it on her cell phone. The note contained the following: a drawing of a semi-automatic handgun pointing at the words, quote, "The thoughts won't stop, help me," end quote. In another section of the note was a drawing of a bullet with the following words above that bullet, quote, "Blood everywhere," end quote. Between the drawing of the gun and the bullet is a drawing of a person who appears to have been shot twice and bleeding. Below that figure is a drawing of a laughing emoji. Further down the drawing are the words, quote, "My life is useless," end quote. And to the right of that are the words, quote, "The world is dead."
Now, I'm going to say it. That was troubling enough to get that kid put into the school like, yo, what the fuck is going on, right?
Yeah.
If the school officials are saying that was enough, that the parents should have said, yo, let's take this motherfucker home. And they charging the parents for this, right? So I'm not saying the parents should even be charged. I'm saying if this is enough to charge the parents, then if those school officials who also knew the same information and sent this kid back to the classroom, how could they not be charged?
Yeah.
Talk to me, Nick.
No, I fully agree, because not only that, they ask the parents' consent. They don't require the parents' consent to send this kid home. They could have.
No.
I mean, frankly, they, based on this, could have been temporarily justified in some sort of detention for the kid, either in the office, either maybe even having a school safety officer or even a police officer take the kid home, take the kid and say, and have a little questioning. They got the parents there, have a police officer get consent from the parents to talk to the kid. You've got a lot of options. They didn't take any of them. They're just like, well, I guess, yeah. Well, since the parents said, no, he can't come home, or we want him to stay in school, then I guess right now we have to just keep him here. I don't know what other option we would have. It's like school is acting like they've never sent a kid home without a parent permission. Every parent,
that's what they call suspension.
Right. And every parent who gets that phone call, right, it says, by the way, your kid's suspended. You need to pick him up right away. The first thing they do when they hang up is go, motherfucker, I got to take off work. I got to take off work for this little asshole. Like, you got to go in and take him home. You got to watch him. Like, no, thank you. It's like, yeah, put him on a bus. That doesn't work. You got to go retrieve the kid. So that's part of the punishment. It's part of the whole psychological aspect of it, is the kid is going to be picked up at the school by their parents to be removed, which means they're going to get their ass whooped in the 90s. Now it doesn't mean the same thing, but that was why they would, that's why they would do it that way, is to make sure the parents knew what was going on and were involved in the process, and that the kid was going to end up going home, not just going off and doing drugs or something else, I guess. So I'm fully with you. I can't, I think they have trouble getting to parental liability in the first place, but even ignoring that, I 100% agree. If you're going to arrest the parents and charge the parents, you got to charge a school official. And the worst part is, not only will they not be charged, they won't even be fired.
And the danger here for the school officials, I think it's negligent because no one can say there's no red flags here, right? Because usually it's like, oh, we didn't know. He was quiet the last couple of weeks, and all of a sudden he came with a gun and shot everybody. That's generally the way it goes. But here, he's literally writing it down, and like, what more could you ask him for to do, right? Help me. We're about to have a problem here, right? He's giving them a note. Look, here's the note. Like I said, he should have had a shirt on that said active shooter. Today is the day. Send me home. And they said no. He said no.
His red flags are wearing eyeliner right now.
He's walking in with red flags, like, send
Papa
me home.
Roach
Like, no.
playing, Papa Roach playing in the background, like, cut my life into pieces. Oh, no, stop it.
Yo, but I'm going to say, I know, and you know how the news media is going to play this. Parents buy kid gun. Parents are culpable. Parents did this. Parents. And hey, whatever. But I think if you really knew the facts and understand the school knew just as much as the parents did.
Yeah.
Then how do you know? Then how are they avoiding any lie? And like you said, they're probably not going to be fine. They're probably going to get patted on the back. You did all you could. No, you didn't send you sent the kid back to class. What are you talking about? You did all you can. Matter of fact, you did the one thing we tell you not to do. Especially, and the part that gets me, if they had enough to force these parents to send their kid to a therapist within 48 hours, this wasn't sending a kid to a therapist whenever you can. This was within 48 hours. How the hell do you say, well, he's still good enough to go back to class after saying he's going to shoot everybody up?
That's crazy town. It's like, well, send him to a therapist, but we can wait till the bell rings. Or even worse, through the next day, like through the next school. Well, I mean, if you can't get him to a therapist today, we fully understand. We'll take him back tomorrow. You can get him into a therapist after class. That'll be fine. What are we talking about? No, it's yeah. Go ahead.
No, and understanding that he has a weapon, they didn't even ask, well, does he have access to weapons? Because as soon as the police get there, because I would have at least called the cops, and the cops get there, does he have access to weapons? That's the first thing you ask. He's talking about shooting people here. Does he have access to weapons? Do you know where the gun is right now? Or the gun is at home? Can we search his bag, right? If he's got a bag here, and we search his bag, we gotta search this kid to make sure he's okay here. But they didn't do any of that. It was just kind of like, send him back to class.
And so you got the other thing is you got two options. Either the bag's on his person and you need permission to search, right?
Yeah. Well, school might be a little different because they're, but the parents are there, so they could give consent.
Or the bag's in the locker, and you almost definitely don't need permission to search at this point.
Correct. Yes.
Because so we were talking about this earlier. There's technically a rule in the Supreme Court that says basically all of your constitutional rights are fully preserved in school. However, they're subservient to the need of the school to provide an environment that fosters education and safety. Mm-hmm. And so the school doesn't need probable cause to effect a search. They need something more akin to reasonable suspicion. And I think at this case, especially since he draws the gun, like, if he just writes a bunch of words that says, hey, I feel terrible. I see blood, all this stuff. It's like, okay, that's edgy poetry. You draw the gun, you circle the gun, you say, help me. The voices won't stop. I think we're getting up towards reasonable suspicion at this point. Like,
I think you're past reasonable suspicion at that point. I think you're a probable cause.
But I'm trying to be as conservative as possible on the issue. I think you're very, like, I think a school is going to say, like, on the grounds that they would search a locker for weed, right? They're definitely at the same sort of level that, because some kid comes up to the principal and says, hey, Joey was selling weed after fourth hour. Like, they're going to go search Joey's locker yesterday. We've got a credible accuser, has no vested interest in Joey. We have the ability to conduct just a quick cursory search of his effects. It's simple. All you need is some sort of accusation that doesn't look entirely motivated. And so I think you're there on this, no problem. So why aren't they searching the locker? And the other thing is, imagine how pathetic it is if he has the backpack on him in the principal's office while they're talking and he's got the gun in the backpack. I mean, come on now.
He had the gun with him all that time, right? So again, But I think the liberal left, they're not going to charge. These school officials are going to be heroes, right? They're the victims, which is fine. But I don't think in any world of justice can you credibly say that these parents, if you're celebrating a parent being charged, then you should be critical of the charging decisions by this prosecutor, because the basis on the charges should also go to the school. And I think the school should be sued out the wazoo by the families of the victims, right? That school should be sued to oblivion, right? Based on that fact. I would sue if they need help. Nick is in Minnesota. Well, this is Michigan, but yeah, they need to sue crazy.
I know some Michigan lawyers who would I believe would take that case. I gotta ask him. I think Mark Ellison. He's an appellate lawyer generally. He's the guy working on Lucas Gerhardt's case. But I should get him on to talk about this, because that is a fantastic question. Does the school bear liability? And you definitely want to sue the school. These parents can't even post their $500,000 bonds. You don't want to sue them. Like, terrible. They don't have any money. Yeah. They don't have any cash. I mean, they're gonna get sued. They're gonna be named in the civil lawsuits. But you got to be thinking, I'm gonna sue the school. That has the state funding behind it, basically. And that's where your pockets lie. And the school, I think they bear. In a lot of cases, I don't think schools and school officials bear responsibility, because, again, my general thought and my initial approach to these questions is, it's easy to say we know someone would do a shooting when they've actually done one. It's easy to say. But in this case, you've expressed that you believe that something bad is going to happen. That's a step down the path of foreseeability, right? Like, it was so foreseeable that you actually foresaw it.
But not only you told them, you get this crazy mother effer to a therapist immediately, right? Within the next 40 hours, you foresaw something crazy was happening, right? Well, why send him to a therapist? Why pull him out of class? Why have his parents come in and sit down and like, yo, this is a crazy mother effer. You better send him to a therapist. I think we got foreseeability in space.
So pour out another bag of bow, more of the Freud. Spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea, post on Twitter as we hear Lost Planning tonight. From the white shores of Nan to the hills of Glenlivet, there's